Hello, happy Valentine's Day. I'm Jessie from Venture Well Yoga, and it's February, so we are continuing on that theme and that journey of connection. And again, last week we went through the concept of connection through nature and how that brings us back to ourselves. And now we're going to dive just a little bit deeper this week. We're going to talk about what my teacher calls and shares with me, which is right relationship. And so right relationship. This is not dating advice, you guys, other than the fact that we're going to learn how to date ourselves. And actually, that's a really good leeway into this because we spend all of this external energy putting ourselves out there to other people. And it doesn't matter if you've been in a marriage for 40 years or if you're single and out there looking or swiping left and right. And a healthy relationship starts with the relationship that you have with yourself. And so I was talking about this in yoga last night while I was teaching, and to me that seems like this so obvious, but it's easier said than it's done. So today I'm going to share with you guys a couple of things that have helped me over the years to really find that connection and that relationship that I have with myself. These aren't easy, and if you're not ready to do the work, then I would just say go ahead and swipe left and skip this video. But for me, these are really important things, and even just now I went for a walk and I had to bring and pull some of this stuff back in for myself because I found there to be an unhealthy relationship that I didn't even realize that I was doing. And so, these are things and practices that we come back to. Again, it's just like we say in yoga, it's not perfect, it's practice. And we continue to show up for ourselves so that we can show up for other people. And so these three things, they start with our affirmations. So affirmations are how we speak to ourselves. And so we know how important it is when we're speaking to a partner or a loved one or just somebody in a relationship that we're in. And the way that we speak to them really dictates the health of our relationship. And so it's, no surprise that the way that we speak to ourselves also dictates how we are presented into the world as well as how we function in the world. And so the laws of the universe say that our thoughts create our actions, or our thoughts create our future, however you want to look at that and define that. And so we have to start thinking about the way that we use our mind. And if we have this perpetual negative self-talk, it's almost like we're planting a bunch of seeds of poison ivy. We are poisoning our mind. So back up on that for just a minute. So say that you're in a career and it's just a very toxic environment. I've been there, believe me. And for me, there was this perpetual, let's talk about it and let's just be upset about it and nothing's going to ever change. So we have that negative conversation of this is a really bad place to work. I don't enjoy the people that I work with. I'm not making enough money for the craziness that I'm going through, right? And then the more that we talk about this in our mind, oftentimes it's the conversations that we lead with because it's in our heart and it hurts, right? And I'm not downplaying the fact that there are toxic places that we can be in environments in, and then yes, we should be getting ourselves out. But part of that is also going to be reframing the mind, because as soon as we leave one bad situation, if we haven't left and that mindset behind with it, then we're going to end up right where we are. I'm sure we've all realized that in our adult life, we have perpetual patterns that we come back to time and time again. And this is why. It's because our mindset continues to replay the same old movie over and over again. It's the leading character who walks down the dark alley and she doesn't have a flashlight or any pepper spray. We know how that ends. And so this is what the mind does. It perpetually puts us into these same stories over and over again. And so it's up to us, if we are ready to and want to change that conversation. And so for me, I just went for a walk, and I, again, didn't even realize that I was having negative self-talk. And I spent the better part of my walk, which was about 40 minutes, repeating 3 affirmations over and over again. And I have to tell you, by the time I was done, I wasn't even aware about how I was negatively talking about something in such a in such a way. And so the fact that I changed the mindset gave me this recognition of where I could show up a little bit better for myself. So let's take this job idea, for example. So bad work environment, bad people that were around, and we're not making the money that we want. So a beautiful way to reframe this would be to simply just state, and again, this is a practice that we come back to. As soon as you start to have those negative self-talk, we come back to these affirmations. And something like this could go in lines of, I'm calling in, or I'm in. It's beautiful to recognize and put yourself in that place, whether this is that job or you're just allowing yourself to think for yourself better in the future situation. But I'm in a healthy work environment that respects and I'm valued. And then you repeat that. I'm in a healthy work environment that respects me and values me. I'm in a healthy work environment that respects and values me. And I bet you if you start to say that for about 10 minutes straight, when you get into the computer every day, that something will start to shift. It will either be that your mindset will shift and people will start to see the energy that you're putting out there and new boundaries will be created, or that incredible job that you do deserve, where you are respected and you are paid, will show up for you. And so play with this. Whatever it is that you're going through, whether it's relationships or, looking for the perfect home, or, you can do this affirmation with anything. It just really becomes this mantra. We put this on repeat, and the more that we can change our mindset, the more that we can begin to shift that perspective. And again, sometimes it's just a perspective change. Other times it actually is working with the laws of the universe to pull the energy in that we want. So stop planting those seeds of poison ivy and let's start planting the seeds of flowers. Mirror, mirror. Wrong fairy tale. Anyway, step number 2, or tip number 2 for right relationship with ourselves is observation. It's all about a continuation of those affirmations and noticing our thoughts. And now this is about how we see and perceive ourselves. And so first, the affirmations are really starting to work with the external and how we affect everything that's going on around us. And now this observation is an observation for us to go in, an invitation for us to really truly look into ourselves. And so one of my favorite practices, again, this is something that I haven't done for a while. So you guys are getting me to come back to some things that are really, truly important to me. And I love that this sharing can be a win-win for all of us. So for me, one of the things that I do to really observe myself, it starts in the bathroom with, it can be a handheld mirror or just your mirror on the wall. And this is a beautiful practice to just remember when you get out of the shower. It's all nice and steamy in there. First of all, write yourself a little love note. This isn't it, but this is just something beautiful. I was just in there getting this compact out of the bathroom, and I have little hearts scribbled in on my mirrors from when when the shower's all steamed up and I get out, and I just write myself a little heart or say I love you. And it's almost like this reminder that our past self was sending love off to our present self. Call it cheesy, but it makes me smile. I love some hearts too. So anyway, so once it's not steamy, and this has to be something you're really truly ready to do, and you can roll your eyes all you want at me, but I want you to eye gaze with yourself. And any of my students that know about eye gazing and have been a witness of this with me, we know when we understand how vulnerable this is. To truly look somebody else in the eye, you begin to see this reflection of yourself in this intimate but very uncomfortable way, as well as seeing into a deeper part of that person. And so I want you to pull and bring this practice to yourself. So once that mirror is unsteamed, look into your eyes, into the mirror. Us ladies, we whether we're putting makeup on or whatever it is, or guys brushing your teeth, there's this awareness that there's a mirror in front of us. We can see ourselves, but it's not this like right there. So I want you to look into the mirror, and don't set an alarm. Just let this be an intimate moment, and just allow yourself, without breaking gaze, to look at yourself for a minute, straight in the eye. Don't allow yourself to gaze off, look at your nose, criticize your eyebrows. Just look into your eyes and witness yourself. And you guys, this it either sounds cheesy or it sounds like, okay, this is simple, but I guarantee if you try this, you're going to feel something. And for me, I had to build up to this. So 1 minute was just kind of eye gazing and it was very uncomfortable. And then if you like, once you feel comfortable with doing this, you can integrate in some affirmations to this. So all of these practices sort of build on each other. So the affirmations of looking at yourself intimately, vulnerably, and saying, I love you. I see you. I'm proud of you. And then see what happens about the tears that are rolling down your eyes. Because how often do we stop and really see and recognize ourselves? Not enough, you guys. So try this out. See what it feels like. You know, maybe this won't work for you. Maybe there's another way you can observe yourself and really get intimate with yourself. But for me, this has been a practice that's truly allowed me to be witness. And it's something that I'm going to step back into. And I haven't done it for a couple of years. Been drawing those hearts on the mirrors and little love notes. But I'm going to practice this again. So I encourage you guys to do this as well. Okay, and the third and final practice for right relationship with self. We've heard this a million times, and it's nothing that we don't know that we could integrate in, but I'm going to say it again, and I'm going to tell you it in a different way. It's meditation. And so I am a teacher who will encourage my students that are trying to find meditation to just to start with 5 minutes. But I'm going to tell you something different today. If you really want to change your life and you really want to have a healthy relationship with yourself so you can begin to integrate health into all your relationships, if you really do, then I want you at least once a week to set your phone alarm for 24 minutes. Sit with yourself for 24 minutes. They say that it takes 20 minutes for the monkey mind to simmer down enough. And again, this is never about stopping the thoughts. This thing's going to go on and on and on. But when we get to around that 20-minute mark, that's when we start to see a shift in the chatter. We can bring in affirmations, we can bring in observations of ourselves, which can again begin to slow the mind down. We can bring it into a mantra that begins to breathe with a breath that can slow the mind down. But what I really want you guys to witness once these minutes begin to unfold is that a new voice shows up. Because this mind, this ego that I call it, it's constantly chattering at us. And it's not a bad thing. The ego has been given a bad rap for a long time, but it's a mechanism that's kept us safe for all these years. And it's the one that tells us these stories over and over and over again because that's what we know that's kept us safe. But those stories, a lot of them are old and they're worn out. We're tired of playing the same record. We're tired of even playing a record. We should really be upgrading to Spotify at this point. There's a lot of really cool new things going on, you guys. So let's upgrade the system a little bit. So sit with yourself, set that alarm, and then I guarantee you after a few sessions of this, you're going to start to hear that other voice, that soul voice. That's that deep yearning within the heart or the gut, depending on where you see and feel the most. And this is where the incredible answers come from. This for me is what I've integrated now for a couple of years. And I have to tell you that when I do this and when I'm committed to doing it, it completely transpires and transforms my thoughts, my actions, and what I'm working on next. Because if we don't sit long enough and we can't slow this thing down enough to really feel and hear what's in here, then we're probably never really going to have a healthy relationship with ourselves. You know, so shut the phones down, turn the TV off, make sure the kids are, out back playing for 20 minutes safely, and give yourself that 24 minutes. And I promise you, you will see a shift. And so I hope that some of these tips are useful for you. And again, whether you're single or you're out there in your long-term relationships, these are beautiful things that you can begin to integrate with yourself and share with your friends and your partners, because this is how we start to make a change in the world, is by changing ourselves. And not that any of us need to change, but we all want to feel a little bit more joy, a little bit more fulfillment in our lives. And these are the steps and the processes that can begin to start that ripple effect. And so hopefully something along the way has registered for you. We'd love to hear a little bit more about your journey of connection in this month of February. And in the meantime, life's a beautiful journey. I hope you venture well. Check us out on Instagram. Make sure you're following along for Wild Wednesdays, as well as some other events that we have coming up for this month and on into March. So thank you guys so much. Happy Valentine's Day. I hope you get a lot of loving from yourself today.